Hi guys, welcome back. This is Cadet Moffat, and this is going to be part two and how to enroll in AFROTC. So in the last part, that covers how to enroll at the detachment and how to enroll for UCF specifically. So in this video, part two, we're going to be covering a little bit more on the wing side. So if you go ahead and scan this QR code, we're going to go ahead and navigate to wings and then talk about how to create an account. So when you first create an account, you should ask to put in your first name, your last name, your email. Once you finally get in, it should look something similar to this. So we're going to go through each little bullet point here, the select schools, youth experience, contact information, and talk about it in depth just so that there's no questions and you kind of understand what you're filling out. So first up, it's going to ask you your address, phone, and email. I'll make this very clear at the top. Whenever you are filling out paperwork, because you are the one that is applying for the program, you are going to put in all of your information. At no point should you put in your father's information, your mother's information, your neighbors. All of this should be your first name, your last name, your cell phone. Because if wings, if headquarters, if someone in the detachment needs to reach you, they need to be able to contact you because they have a question for you. So that's why this is all going to be your contact information. And just make sure that all information is true to the best of your knowledge. So up here, right up top, we're going to start with phone number. You can add in cell and work. So just add as many as you need to, as many as you have. Email, use an actual email that you have access to and that you're going to check regularly because like I said, they have to reach out to you. They're going to use that email. And then address, this is your home of record, your home address. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, let's say you're living in the dorms. It doesn't have to be the dorm address at UCF. It can be your home address. Next one, it's going to talk about youth experience. So at any point in your youth, so in high school, did you complete JROTC? You're just going to click yes or no. That's right here. Other experience that could be listed is going to be Scout, CAP, and any prior officer training. Just put the truth. So if you do have JROTC experience, go ahead and click yes. If not, click no and fill those fields out properly. So for military service, select if you have any prior military experience. So over here, if you do select that, you may have to provide more documentation like a DDT 214. So just be ready, have that paperwork on hand. Then it's going to ask you if you've taken the AFOQT. This is the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test. Yes or no. Like I said, just answer honestly. Down here, we kind of already covered the JROTC experience. This is going to ask you a little bit more in depth. So it's going to ask, did you do Air Force, Marine Corps, Army, Navy? How many years? What's the total? And if you click a yes, they're going to ask right here, if you look at this little paperclip, it's going to ask you for a certificate of completion and transcripts of the class being on your transcripts or in your records will also work. And if you say, do you have any scout experience down here, it's going to ask you, do you have any CAP, so Civil Air Patrol? Do you have any scouting or prior officer training? And so then this is just kind of talking about the paperclip as well, but just answer honestly. For demographics, this is going to talk about your birth information, citizenship, race, and ethnicity. Hit this side note over here. If you were in the process of attaining your U.S. citizenship or naturalization, please bring all paperwork to your AFRTC orientation, otherwise known as the New Student Orientation INSOP. As far as wings go, we are going to enter what your citizenship status is currently. So when we get to this section and it asks for citizenship, there's a drop down. Just select what it currently is, not what you hope it to be. Social security number, dual citizenship, yes or no, date of birth, your sex, birth country, birth state, and birth city. And then down here, select your race and ethnicity. This is the emergency contact section. Here, you're just going to relate, or I should say, here, you're just going to push any relations that you have, so contact name and your relationship to them. Here, it's going to have a drop down. You can select first, last name. It's going to ask for their address, so their primary address, their secondary address. You'll list that here. It's going to ask for their phone number, and it's going to ask for their email. The email is optional, but the phone number is required. So just make sure that this is a phone that they will pick up if something happens. That's the whole point of an emergency contact. So if something pops up, they can reach them. And then update and verify. That's at the bottom. The next point is selecting schools. So here we're going to list University of Central Florida as your number one. So this is the school that you would most like to attend if accepted. In this case, we're kind of already saying that you are accepted to UCF, but then of course you can list other schools that maybe you're filling out wings in this process a little bit early. You might end up going somewhere else. The wings process is the same, so this information is still current. It's still helpful for you to use, but you can select another university, and they're all listed here, and you can search by state. On the next point, this is questions and acknowledgments. So this is saying, have you ever had a physical for entry into the U.S. Armed Forces, Air Force ROTC, or anything else? Have you ever done DOBMERB? DOBMERB is the Department of Defense Medical Examination and Review Board, physical or MEPS. So like if you were thinking about maybe enlisting, MEPS is the Military Entrance Processing Station physical. So that's just asking if you've ever done any of this. Just be honest, click yes or no. Here, from military background. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's going to ask you if you have any prior military service. Hit yes or no. It's going to ask you if you've ever taken the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test. Yes or no. This little section talks a little bit more about what the test actually is. Usually you take it your sophomore year. Sometimes we have freshmen taking it. Selective service number. So all males that are over the age of 18 are in the selective service. If you do not know your selective service currently, you can go over to this website right here. So use the lookup tool. There is this little hot link right here. You can go there, or you can type in this address. This is going to take you to the website. You'll just enter in your information. This is a government website, so you're good. This is your first name, last name, and social security, and they'll let you know what your service number is. And so if you, like I said, if you don't already know it, you have to look it up, and then you're gonna place it in this box. So then just hit save and close. On the next window, this is showing you what that website is actually gonna look like. Oh, yeah, it also asks for your date of birth. Like I said, this is a government website. There's no need to be afraid to put in your information. And then click I'm not a robot, submit this information, and then plug that into Wings. The next one here is dependents. This is going to ask if you're married, yes or no, and it's going to ask if you have any children or any dependents. Once you've finished with that one, we'll go to the next one. This is questions and acknowledgments. So right here, this is going to talk about question number 1. Are you a conscientious objector? It defines exactly what that is. Hit yes or no. Question, have you ever been affiliated with a organization or movement that seeks to alter our form of government? Yes or no. Question, do you understand that participation in Air Force ROTC, which is the program you're trying to enter, requires physical activity? Yes or no. So just make sure that you read all of these in depth and make sure that you acknowledge that you understand. Because if something happens further down the line and you're like, I'm not prepared to do this, I'm not ready to do this, they're going to pull this up and they're going to show you that you hit yes or that you hit no, right? So just make sure that you're understanding what you're getting into with the program. On this question and acknowledgments, this is going to ask you about restrictions on personal conduct in the armed forces. This is just saying that you understand that military life is different than civilian life, and there's going to be some things that look a little bit different. Are you comfortable with that? Are you not? Hit yes or no. You're acknowledging that you understand. You understand down here that membership in the general military course or the GMC years, which is your first 2 years, freshman and sophomore, or attendance in field training. FT does not guarantee that I will be accepted into the POC course, the professional officer course. I understand that if I'm not on scholarship, attendance at field training does not guarantee or commit me to enter the POC. Read that in its full entirety, acknowledge it, and move on. Hit next. Civil involvements. So for civil involvements, this is anything that has happened in the past. This is anything that has happened in the last week, in the last month. Just be honest with civil involvements. That's the biggest thing. For most students, right? Like most people that are going to continue in the program and they're going to finish up their GMC years, go into POC, you're going to try to get clearances. The longer and longer you stay in the program and then you go into the actual Air Force, they're going to continue to look into your background. And so what's going to happen is you're going to say that you didn't do something or say that you've never done something before. And later on, it's going to come up in your background that maybe you have. And so what we're trying to avoid with the civil involvements page here is that you're just honest with everything that has occurred in your past. A lot of things can get excused. It's up to the commander's discretion. We see all different types of cases, and so it's a case-by-case basis. I'm not going to say that maybe your situation will get excused or that it will not. It's not really up to me. It's up to the commander. And so with this, the biggest thing, just be honest. The Air Force's core value, the first core value is integrity first. So if you can't do that here on paperwork, we can't trust you later on down the road and with people's lives. So here, date of involvement, you're going to fill that in if you do have one. This screen is showing like a cadet that has had one excuse. So that's why it says excused. It's going to ask you for the date of the involvement, the date and time it was reported. Brief summary of the incident. So this is just kind of explaining what happened. Detained, confined, probation, yes or no. Drugs or alcohol cited, yes or no. Involvement type. So is this a military involvement, school, or civil? And then supporting documents. So this is going to be like an actual like description of what you're uploading and then a picture of the ticket or of the document that basically says what the civil involvement was about. I will say parking tickets at school at UCF do not have to be reported. Some of the most common CIs that we see are like speeding tickets, red light tickets, that kind of thing, where I'm not going to say that it's not serious because any sort of ticket is serious. But that's mostly what we see. Those tickets have to be reported. However, parking tickets on UCF campus do not have to be. So this one over here looks a little bit different. This is an under review CI. And just be descriptive in these boxes. You will have a meeting with cadre explaining what the CI was about, what happened. They might cover some wing stuff because basically when you get a CI assigned, you have to sign wings saying that you had that meeting. So they'll just talk to you a little bit about the ticket itself, what happened. So just be prepared if you do list that you have a CI. So once you've completed your application in wings, go ahead and email afrotc@ucf.edu. And so this is only if you have issues uploading the documents. Hopefully, you don't have any issues. You upload the documents and you send them off in wings. If you do, the email is there for you. A link can be provided to you to go through a different website. It's called DocuSign. This is another option that we provide to fill in and sign all the forms. At this point in your journey, right? Most people that are coming to college are about 18, 19, 20. We are grown, right? We, because I'm also in that age bracket. You are an adult and you're responsible for yourself and you're responsible for paperwork. And so in Wings, it asks you to download different documents. What you need to do is fill them out, sign them. Once you've done all that, re-upload them into Wings. If you have issues with that, it is on you because you are the adult in the situation to email afrotc@ucf.edu if you have any issues. Don't expect somebody to fill it out for you because you're going to come to MSOP and your stuff is not going to be done, and we aren't going to be able to speed your process basically. So just make sure that you're getting all this done before. And so then on number 3, please upload your completed Form 28, which is the sports physical in wings. The reason that we're making such like a big point about this Form 28 is because the first day of training, the first day of PMT is physical training, PT. You cannot work out with us. You cannot do lead lab with us. You cannot do anything that's physical until you have that sports physical or Form 28 in the system. Because if you get hurt, that's a huge liability, and the Air Force does not want that. We don't want you to get hurt either. So just make sure all of that is done before.